Hello. Stephanie Zima here. It's been a while that I've been live because I was out of the country, you guys. I actually traveled in Europe for 2 full weeks and it was amazing. And I'm going to tell you, it was the best trip ever. I was slightly nervous because I have never, ever, believe it or not, even though I was born there, I have never ever stayed in a hotel in Europe before, so that was quite the experience because I tell you this quick funny story. I got into this room and I thought to myself, like, where is the light switch? Like, why is no electricity working in there? And believe it or not, you have to actually insert your key card in the beginning before any electricity works in I felt like the biggest idiot. Like I have never traveled in my entire life. And all of you that know me know that I actually travel quite a bit. But yeah, I have never traveled into a hotel room in Europe. So I had no idea. It's those little new nuances that make this trip extra memorable and fun. And then, of course, there's the Autobahn. So just to give you a quick overview, I flew into Munich and I traveled through Regensburg and Frankfurt back down to Bremen to Hamburg, and then I flew up to the Netherlands. Visited Amsterdam and Rotterdam, which is huge as well. So it was quite the experience. And then back, lots and lots and lots of stuff, lots and lots and lots of new people I've met. It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. But that's not what I'm here for to talk to you about. I am here to talk to you about your productiveness and why you may be not as productive as you could be. Okay, so if you are struggling with feeling busy all the time, but you just seem like you're spinning your wheels, you just don't get anything done, you are not alone. This is something that, let me get my notes up here, this is something that is happening to most all of us, actually. Those of us that are bought into this, you have to produce more, you have to hustle more, you have to do more because busy equals productive. And that, my friends, is just not the truth. That is not something that is happening. And I'm going to tell you today exactly why this is a myth that basically is breaking you and your business. Okay, it's burning you out. And if you are not showing any results in your business, and if you are almost ready to give up because you don't see the money, you don't see the results, you don't see the customers coming in, you don't make any sales, you are not able to make the needle move, listen up to me and tune into my content, because I'm telling you, there is a better way on making progress and feeling good while you're doing it. And that is definitely not the hustle mode. Okay. So answering emails is not necessarily building business. Scrolling, tweaking content is not revenue generating work. Feeling productive can actually be avoidance. When you are busy all the time and you're running, and you are constantly doing certain things that are not moving the needle forward, you could possibly be in a flight response. See, you hear me talk about the nervous system a lot, right? The nervous system has a huge impact on your business, and this is why. When you do certain tasks in your business, but they don't show results, you have to always look back and see, why am I doing these things? What is the purpose and how am I doing with it? Okay, how am I feeling with that? Like, and this is why, by the way, it is also that it works for some people, but it doesn't work for others, because we all are unique. See, we all have our own unique makeups, our own unique brains, our own unique experiences. And it's so challenging for uplines or bosses or leaders, whoever you have in front of you, to give you this right script, to give you what you should be doing that will work for you as well, because they're not in you. You are in you. So here I am teaching you to recognize the signs, the emotions, the feelings, and the triggers that help you once you understand them all, to actually develop your own system. And that is what makes me so different than any other coach out there, my friends. Okay. So if you know anybody that has been stuck, any online entrepreneur, anybody in sales that is stuck, please tag them on here or share my video out. Share the podcast if you're hearing this on a podcast, wherever you're seeing this, share this out because this is what people need to know. Okay, so feeling productive can actually be avoidance, right? So when you have a flight response, when your nervous system says, I need to run away. Basically, there's this threat coming up, the saber-toothed tiger, the bear, the fear, whatever your threat, your perceived threat is, and your natural nervous system response is to flee. You obviously can't run away from your computer. You know you kind of have to make money, right? But feeling productive, constantly answering emails, looking at your notifications, scrolling, tweaking content, all those things will actually be an avoidance tactic for you to flee. That is what is happening. Your nervous system will always dictate your output. Okay. So fight, for example, there's fight, flight, and freeze responses. The fight will be you overworking, you're cramming things, you are burning out. Your flight responses look like a distraction, like you are just losing focus all the time, or maybe you're switching from task to task. And your freeze response would be a procrastination, or you're shutting down. The freeze or the flight response can look something like you are sitting there working and boom, notification comes in. Oh, new task. Okay, I'm going to start doing this over here. Oh, new task. I'm going to do this over here. And now out of the sudden, you have all these different loops and tabs open, but you haven't finished one thing. You're actually not making strides. So it feels exhausting because you're doing so much all over the place, but you're never finishing any project. That was me, guys. That was me. I thought, I mean, yes, I do believe I have undiagnosed ADHD, which is a blessing because I can do a lot of things at the same time. But I had to train myself to work and think in projects. Okay, projects that have strategically been aligned with what I'm trying to create and what I'm trying to do, because this was the obstacle that I was facing. I was facing this constant distraction and this constant switching between, and feeling that I've worked so many hours every single day, but I never saw results. I never saw results. And it almost defeated me. I almost quit my business. I almost thought, like, I can't do this. And then when I added a full-time employment to the mix, I was like, there's no way on earth now that I can do all these things. But I was wrong. I started realizing that, wait a minute, if I can regulate myself, if I can understand how my brain works and how my body works and how my triggers play together and how all of that is happening, I am able to design a business that works with me, not against me. And that is what I want for you guys. Okay. That's what Walk It Free is all about, is walk it free from this grind and hustle of someone else's job, and build what you want. Create your own system, your own. I mean, this is, after all, when you think about it, this is all what entrepreneurship is about, right? You are supposed to create something new, not just do what everybody else does. You're supposed to create something new. And how do you create all these new businesses? By making it yours, right? Because your brain is unique, your experiences are unique, your background is unique, your lens is unique, what you're looking at, regardless if you're in network marketing, for example, where you are looking, selling maybe the same product as a gazillion other people. No, the market is not saturated. Maybe you think it is because you are trying the same approach everyone else is. But if you are using you as the lens, if you are getting in touch and connecting with who you are and what you want to do, and using that as a lens, your experiences, writing posts your way, becoming confident enough and conscious enough to actually share from your perspective. Now, that is your unique personal brand, right? But you can't do that if you are in your fight, flight, or freeze response, because Maybe if you're distracting yourself, you're hustling and you're exhausted and you're running out of time before you can create anything. And if you're freezing, you're procrastinating, you're shutting down before you can create anything. And if you're just spinning your wheels, overworking without strategy, you are also not creating anything. Okay. So it's really important that you don't just have a schedule on paper, but you're like taking a really good look at yourself, connect with your values, connect with your emotions, connect with your triggers. How do you feel? What is my energy level like? At what point in time? These things are vital, not only for the output that you're producing, but also for you to actually keep the energy going so you can take the actions that you need. Okay. So time blocking is a strategy that a lot of people are using because they feel like this is very effective. But time blocking alone really doesn't work. I've tried this part too. I've tried to say, oh, in the morning from 7 to 8, I'm going to do prospecting, or I'm going to do prospecting at lunchtime, or I'm going to do prospecting at night. And, you know, for those that are new and don't know what prospecting is basically writing messages, connecting with people, talking to people online, that kind of stuff. Finding people to talk to, that is basically prospecting. But, it didn't really work this way because I could not stick with a schedule. For the life of me, I couldn't stick with a schedule. Something else was always coming up, something else was happening. I got distracted. I put other things forward, and those were not because I didn't believe in what I wanted to do, not because I couldn't do what I wanted to do. It was because my paradigm, my internal belief system was conditioned to always respond to outside triggers because I was a people pleaser. I was trained from young age on that I needed to look at stimuli and respond. Stimuli and respond. So look at the world that we are living in. Okay. We are living in a world where we are constantly bombarded with stimuli. There is notifications, there is people talking, there is people calling you, there's people wanting other things. Like there is, it's just a constant overload, right? It's a constant overload. So what was I doing? Every time that time slot would come up, I would have someone else more important than me because it was very painful to put me first. Because the thought that came running in my subconscious background was always like, don't be so selfish, Stephanie. This is for you. You want this. Don't be so selfish. You can't do this right now. Other things are more important. You are so selfish. You are selfish. You're selfish. You're selfish. This is what I've been conditioned with from my young age on, right? Every time I needed to do something to take care of me and my energy and my life, and when I wanted to set boundaries, I was told I was selfish for wanting something that was good for me. Now, you might have a different sentence in mind. You might have something else that pops in it. Feel free to share in the comments with me what it is that pops into your brain when you are trying to stick with something that you want for yourself, but then somehow never make it happen, right? There is a thought that is happening for you that evokes an emotion. So I would let myself off the hook faster because that was less painful than me actually sticking with I am going to be selfish for a minute and doing what I must do right now. Now, in order to make that happen, okay, and this is where time blocking gets really way more complicated than uplines or bosses or leaders even realize. They just don't understand why certain people cannot stick with the time frames. So for me, I did make time blocks, but I had to make them, for me, I had to make them flexible. I moved them around. So there are maybe a time block that I do here, and then maybe there's a time block I do here. And, I have a general outline of what I need to do, but I gave myself permission to move these time blocks around according to what I need and what feels good for me in the moment. Okay. Because I realized that if I was too harsh with myself, I would then flip not only was I talking down on myself and say you are so selfish, now I was also putting me into a shame spiral, energetically. When I didn't do what I was supposed to do, I started like beating myself up of like, see, you are just a big talker. You can't do the things. So I started giving myself permission to just be flexible. Sometimes I work them in the car, sometimes because I also have kids, my life is still fluent. So the image that I put in my brain was like, I am like water. I flow down the river. I flow around the rocks. I flow around the school recitals and the late school pickups, or I have this happening today. And oh, yeah, by the way, here's an extra game that we have added to the thing. Like, there's always something, and you can relate probably. If you're a mom in business, you can relate. There's always something happening. And that is what keeps us often from really having these rigid time blocks. Okay. So maybe that will work for you, maybe not. But again, you need to know your triggers. You need to really have your nervous system and what sets you off, what brings you energy, what takes energy away from you, how you're responding, how your nervous system is responding to these stimuli. You will have to have that and keep that in mind in order to make a DMO, a daily mode of operations, that will work for you. A system creates a system that works for you. And again, if you are in my freedom mentorship, this is something I help people do. This is something freedom mentorship or the one-on-one coaching, this is what I work with people through so that they have an understanding, because it's very complex to do alone. It's very complex if you have not. And that is why 80% of people in network marketing, for example, or online space are not successful, is because it is complex. But it is not because you're not capable. You are definitely capable. You are able to do that. You just need a guide that can help you put your pieces together and not just someone else's pieces, right? That may not fit for you. Okay. So energy aligned scheduling, this is where you really are going to shift. Okay. When you have understood that you need to do certain tasks. You need to prospect. You need to have lead generations. You need to market something. So you have to have content creations. You need to ask the questions of whether or not, or invite somebody to look at your things. Like you know the big field of what you need to do in your business to create money, right? When you are recognizing your patterns, you can then start having a framework of where your energy flows. That means when it's my high energy state of mind, my body, my high energy state, that's when you want to do the sales, the content, the conversations. Okay. When you are feeling your best in the day. When you are a medium energy, maybe that's when you want to do follow-ups or maybe do some admin tasks of some sort. If you have really low energy, like that's me at night, like I'm spent. In the end of the day, I'm just spent. That's when you can do maybe some planning, some learning, some light tasks. Maybe you read something, or you just look through your calendar, plan the next day, those kind of things. When you work within your specific energy model, again, be the river that, or the water that goes through the riverbed, that's when you can start creating things with consistency without burnout. Okay, that's where it's really important. And sometimes you have high energy days. Sometimes maybe Mondays is a high energy day for you because you are so recharged from the weekend. Maybe you're totally drained on Mondays because you had like soccer games and all kinds of stuff happening on weekends. You have to see and evaluate your specific riverbed, so to speak. Where's your big rocks? Where's your boulders? Like, what is happening in your life? Where do you need to flow, and how can you make this happen? And when you create balance for yourself, when you start regulating yourself, when you give yourself permission to not feel so stressed, when you feel like you are you in your business, okay? What's going to happen is you have clearer thinking. You're going to have make better decisions. You are going to have higher quality content and actions. And you're going to go from like chaotic to quality. That is really the biggest shift, I have to say, that I saw within my own work. It was like chaotic content creation was like, oh my gosh, I was all over the place. It took forever for me to put the pieces together. And halfway through, I would always get confused. I would confuse myself halfway through. And then I realized, I'm like, no, I need to do it my way. And then when I started taking me in consideration, not only did I feel like I saw myself, I felt respecting myself. I also started to keep my focus and keep my concentration throughout my content creation. And if you know me, I am multi-present on multiple different platforms, and I do all this stuff basically by myself. So at this point, yeah, and I do have 3 children, and I do have a full life, and I do everything by myself. And yes, do I drop balls here and there? I am, especially when it comes to the extracurricular activities for my children. Sometimes I drop balls, but it is what it is, right? You have to have one main priority, and money, in generating money and income at this point for my family is what's really important. And I want that for you too, because I have just recognized, we talked about this, my daughters and I talked about this the other day, and you know 80% of American have 38,000 plus credit card debt. That is insane, guys. That is insane. And that is why I want for you to really make sure that your business is working, and it can work. I mean, everyone is hanging out online. So if you can make it work for you so that you can actually share your experience, share what's been working for you, share what you are thinking. This is interesting to people. You might not think that it's interesting, but your expertise is needed, because this is where we learn. This is where humans learn from others, okay? And having YouTube videos where people can learn from, having videos on Facebook where people can learn from, having human contact, human conversation, that is so, 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 so important. So before you can have this big, big, big action plan, you need to actually micro-regulate first. Okay. So when I want to break this big thing down of have your business all working fine, you have your river already working, everything planned out, you have your full strategy. What I want you to do is take the one thing that will move the needle forward within now, within the next month, okay, the next 30 days. Sometimes, and that was, if you are anything like me, you probably struggle with that as well, that you think way too far ahead. So many say, what's your big hairy goal? And I'm like, I want to make $5 million for my retirement fund to be where I need it to be. And I'm thinking 5 million, I can't even fathom the amount of money that could be. And, so of course, I immediately trigger my fight, flight, and freeze responses. And I'm like, whoa. And next thing you know, your brain is on complete overload. You're burned out. You're not doing anything. You're not moving. That is what, to me, the big hairy goal did. Okay. I basically shut down every single time. So what I needed to do, and maybe it'll work for you, what I needed to do is I needed to literally think, what is right in front of me? Okay. I am a hard worker. I am somebody that can create and learn a lot, but I cannot and don't need to learn everything immediately. See, this is why I have so much knowledge right now, because I've done this for years. I've learned. But in the end, my business didn't move because I didn't do the other thing. And I would tell you now that you need to do only what is on the next step right now, because we are already in the phase of being completely overloaded with life. We are completely overloaded with all the stuff that's happening in front of us. And I'm going to tell you, calm yourself down and think, what do I need for my business to advance to the very next level? Do I need more leads? Do I need more conversations? Do I need more audience? Do I need more followers? Do I need more product to sell? What do I need right now to make a next step, to feel like I am successful? And when that is happening, I want you to do something first before you start working. I want you to do 2 to 3 minutes of breathing. before you start. You breathe in, you hold it for 1, 2, 3, and then you breathe out for 6. That's what I want you to do. I want you to regulate yourself first. I want you to think, what do I need to do next? And then only plan for the next 30 days, maybe 90 days if you need to. Okay, what's the next 90 days that I need to do? What's the next 30 days? What do I need to do the next week? What do I need to do today? Reverse engineer so that you have a calm daily to do. And that is how you are turning a busy, over crazy life to something that's actually productive and not as crazy at all. Like, you will have time to sit down and just enjoy a cup of coffee. Believe it or not, you will have time to think. You will have time to plan vacations. You will have time to think of what else can I do. You will still see more progress doing it the calmer way than what you did before, trying to hustle your way through. So if you feel like this was valuable, I would love for you to give me a heart, share this out with somebody, tag somebody, leave me a comment, give me some kind of an engagement. I think I deliver quite some value here on my page. Make sure you are showing up and showing up more, because I'm going to share a lot more, especially in live video. It is so important, I feel like, that we help each other talk and succeed. And I would just love for you to show me some support in return. Ask me any questions you might want to know an answer about, and hopefully I can help you then. Okay, if you want, actually, download the Reset the Nervous System link real quick. I will drop this down here in the comments. I believe I can, or is it somewhere in the link? Go check out the link, okay? It's somewhere all linked on my pages. So wherever you're watching this right now, go ahead and click the link and download the nervous system reset form. That way, it's just a piece of paper what explains exactly how you get started with your nervous system reset, how you can calm yourself down, and then how you can start your next steps. And you will also get weekly emails that will give you a little bit more information. And, it's a little small steps, micro steps. That's what we need to do right now. Peace out.